Hi, it's Ursula from ursula-smith.com, and today I'm going to be switching things up a little bit. As you may or may not know, I'm doing a collaboration project with a couple of friends, and we decided to switch our different art forms around, so we're each going to be doing what the other one traditionally works with, and today I'm going to be working with resin. It's a two-part resin so that you mix it together and you can put it over things and it will harden to a clear finish. And I'm going to attempt to make a belt buckle. I have no idea if this is actually going to work. I'm going to give it a shot, and if it works, I'll have a cool, funky art belt buckle out of it, and if not, hopefully you'll learn from my mistakes. So anyway, thanks for joining me, and here we go with the project. So here's the belt buckle that I'm going to be using. I got this, I believe, at ringsandthings.com. And I'm just using, this is just a piece of, like a sanding block, just to prop it up, because underneath there are these pieces hanging off, and you really want everything to be level when you're pouring resin. So I'm just kind of straddling that foam block so that it's sitting on the desktop pretty level. And then this is just a piece of cardstock cut from something I'd stamped some other time, a little bit of coloring on it. So I cut it to size, and I'm just going to slip it into the hole here, and then I'm going to go mix my resin, and we'll see how it goes. And I'll be right back. So this is the resin that I'm going to be using. It's called ice resin, and it's actually two parts, and you mix them in equal parts. It says for about 2 minutes until it's clear. So they're kind of two different colors, and I guess when you mix them together, they turn clear. So I am going to go and do that, and again, pour it into the top of the belt buckle. And I'll be back. Okay, so I've got part A in the little cup, and I thought it was easier to do whatever drams are. So I'm pouring two drams with the part A, and now I'm going to add part B and make it equal to the 4. So that's should be equal parts of each part A and part B, and then I'll start mixing. Hi, I'm back, and I'm thinking this video is probably going to end up being what not to do when you're making a resin project. So the first thing is, here's the belt buckle. It actually came out pretty cool looking. Actually, it probably goes the other way. However, if you remember what I was straddling the belt buckle on when it was drying, I had it on my work table, and while it was drying, and so it was still wet, and I was trying to do another project and knocked it over, and I was able to salvage it. So actually it looks still pretty good. I lost some of the resin, but wasn't too bad. However, when I put it back on the sponge, it actually stuck to that sanding block. Again, luckily that was a soft thing, so I could pretty much cut it away, but that top part is pretty well stuck on there. But no worries, it's the other side of the belt buckle, and it's for me, so who cares? But anyway, I think the belt buckle came out pretty cool. Just need to polish up the sides of it. And then the other thing that I did, which was not good is I did not realize as I was filming my some ideas for what to do with the leftover resin, I had turned off the video camera, so you never actually saw me do this. So this is a stamp. It's just, this is one of those craft sheets, the non-stick craft sheets that I had stamped on, and I pulled one of these rubber, I forget the name of them. Hold on, let me go check. So this is one of those the stretch bands that, I don't know if they still make them, but these were huge a few years ago when my kids were little. And so I've found that they don't stick. I use it with tar gel and the self-leveling gel by Golden, and you can pour that in there and it doesn't stick to the band, so you can get a shape out of it. So what I did here was this is again the non-stick craft sheet with just a stamped image in black, and then I poured the resin in one of these silly bands, and oh yeah, it's not sticking. So you can just pull up the band, and then you can pull off, I'm trying to do this one-handed, pull off the resin, and there's a little bit of cleanup that I'm going to have to do just to kind of cut off these tails that kind of sunk out underneath the silly band. But there's actually a groove there, so it'll be really easy to clean that up. But kind of cool, a stamped crown in resin. And this is only day 2, so it takes 3 days for the resin to cure, so it's still a little soft. And there's that groove. I can just literally pull it away. So that's kind of cool. And then I took the whatever resin was left and I poured it on a piece of paper. Now, I poured way too much, so you can see it didn't dome and it just kind of spread out. I also moved it, so that didn't help. And then I put it on the floor and stepped on the paper and moved it again. So all in all, again, what not to do when you're making resin projects. But I think the next time what I would do is, if you can see these, like that, it's so cool. It's just a piece of paper, you know, that I stamped and printed and poured then the resin on top of it. Just makes it really shiny. But especially with a circle, you can tell I'm a lousy cutter. I really can't cut circles out by hand. So the next time I did this project, I would punch out the circle or cut out, or, you know, use a cutter to cut anything square, trim it all out ahead of time, and then do the resin on top of the craft sheet and let it dry that way, and then I could just trim whatever little bit of excess spilled over onto the craft sheet afterwards. I think it'll be easier than cutting the entire shape out of the paper and the resin together. So, but these are definitely usable. And again, they're cured, but not completely, so I'm trying not to put my fingers on them to get fingerprints. But anyway, I thought that was kind of neat, so I would definitely do that again. I would also use a lot less resin. That was way, way, way too much, as you can tell. And I also wouldn't leave it on my work table or on the floor near my work table so that I wouldn't step in it again. So anyway, again, these are kind of my tips on what not to do when making a project using resin. And there's my belt buckle. Very cool. Definitely would use resin again. And my buddy Susan will show you what you should do with resin in another lesson. Thanks for joining me. See you next time. So here's just one more shot of the additional projects. There's that crown made with the silly bands cleaned up. Just pulled all those little extra pieces of resin off. And then that's just a little flower and the circle. Pretty cool. Thanks for joining me. See you next time.